Welcome back to another spill drop video. Today I'm going to be showing you 5 new super modules based on the triangular foundation. So if you're looking for square foundation layouts, check out my last video linked here where I provided 5 farm modules that fit neatly into a 1x1 square. Now, before we get started with the super modules today, I wanted to show you something that I learned very recently in Rust and has been such an incredibly useful tool for me. Now, many players know that in the F1 menu, you hit F1 on the keyboard, you have a lot of tools that are available to you. One tool that I just discovered is the option to draw colliders when you have admin privileges on a server, such as on this rusticated build server that I've got here. And if I just pop on over to debug.drawCollidersTrue, what you see here is the actual collision boxes for each of these deployable objects. Now, this will allow you to compare different objects and their collision boxes, so that way you can make the most out of the space in your base. As you can see here, the 2 different barrel skins that I'm working with, the Frontier barrel here on the left and the Jungle barrel here on the right, have exactly the same collision box, despite having slightly different appearances on the in-game model. If we take a look at the low barrel compared to the high barrel, there's obviously some significant differences here, and you can see where the hopper's collision box appears on these 2 as well. Now, some of these collision boxes are primarily for blocking placement. Like, as you can see, I'm walking around straight through the hopper with no problem at all, so it's not colliding with the character, but it does collide with other objects when you try to place them around the hopper. And it's pretty neat. The collision shows paths for different deployables as well, so if you fly up over the top of the shotgun trap, you can see that there's actually quite a bit of this trigger zone that is not even in front of the shotgun trap itself, but it's right here to the side of it. So if you enter this polygon where you see the orange there, or the gold, that is the trigger zone, and that will trigger the trap. Pretty interesting and a cool way to kind of visualize how the deployables in Rust actually work. Now let's get into the super modules for the day. Right away here on the right side, we're going to go ahead and flick this switch. And now this might be a little bit interesting to some of you farmers out there, but what I've got set up here is the hanging fluorescent lights, which is part of the decor DLC, hanging from siren lights. And on this side here, you can see I've got it hanging from the shelf. Just kind of a neat trick that I discovered. It's technically attached to this middle siren light, but these 2 on the ends give the light something to actually attach to. On top of those 3 siren lights, I've got 3 pots, because why waste those perfectly good shelves? The floating bamboo shelf up here with 4 more pots. We've got 6 planter pots. Down in here we have a low barrel with a hopper on top. It has 2 storage adapters on there as well. 3 siren lights that I'm using as shelves in this module, which is kind of a new technique that I've been trying out. This module also includes a sprinkler to keep these plants wet. This is a really great module if you're looking to kind of hide a hopper. So if you've got a trap set up around here, like that shotgun trap, and you want any loot that is going to be coming through your base to drop down into this hopper, you can hide the hopper behind some bushy berry plants, and that way if somebody triggers your shotgun trap, they fall and get sucked up into this hopper, and you'll have the benefit of collecting their loot before they have the chance to come back for it. I recently used a hopper design like this in the Rust Armada 2 event, and in that event I used a hopper to defend our relic and in our raid base. The hopper would pick up anyone who had died, chop them all up, and store their loot conveniently so it was out of reach of anybody who might be poking through the windows or trying to go deep on the raid base, because it wouldn't be scattered in body bags all around the base. And when I had this hopper defending our relic, it sat right underneath 4 shotgun traps, and anyone who entered was immediately targeted. We picked up significant amounts of boom just from this hopper. So I strongly recommend that you try this out in your next base or raid base. Moving on to the second second module of the day, another triangular farm module. And this one further expands on the concept of using these siren lights as shelves. So you can see we've got 12 planter pots down here in this sunken triangle. You can walk over it really nicely. There are 6 siren lights that we're using as shelves down here, as well as our hanging fluorescent light attached to this floating bamboo shelf. We have a second floating bamboo shelf above it and 8 planter pots on this wall for a total of 20 planter pots in this triangle. Very accessible, a nice way to kind of store a lot of growing potential while remaining a high mobility area, so you can still walk through here with no trouble at all. All of these plants should be getting light. Sometimes the light's a little bit glitchy, but even down here these should be getting light. These lower pots can have some trouble getting water, so you may need to play around with the placement of your sprinklers. You may even need to try to squeeze a sprinkler down on the ground level if that's possible to get the best amount of watering for all of these. But with the sprinkler on the wall here, these pots usually get watered pretty well. My third sunken super module of the day is this electrical brain module setup. A lot of times in the bases that I build, it can be difficult to find a place to store all of the electrical components that makes them both easy to access but out of the way, because they obviously don't provide very much utility outside of the initial setup. Once everything's rolling, you kind of want these electrical components hidden while still keeping them in reach and able to be utilized and updated as needed. So in this design, we have 1 medium battery, 8 small batteries, 10 electrical splitters, 5 electrical branches, and a combiner down there just to kind of keep all this stuff running. You can definitely customize the amount of branches and combiners, and maybe not splitters so much, as I think I've kind of reached the maximum here and kind of got the most bang for my buck. This is a really solid design. These small batteries are a great way to run turrets and lights if that's something that you're doing, or for running relatively small circuits. In sticking with this electrical theme, up next we have the big brain module. This is another module that has kind of been born out of the struggle of having too many electrical and industrial components and no adequate place to store and organize them. If you're building an industrialized base with sorting or any kind of automation, you will quickly find yourself looking for room to place conveyors and splitters, combiners, branches to run all that power, some blockers for a day-night system, as well as additional storage for auxiliary power. And that is what this tiny super brain module is designed for. Down below, we have 12 industrial conveyors, 14 industrial splitters, which may or may not be enough for a standard sized base with an auto sorter, 16 electrical branches, 2 blockers, 8 electrical combiners, 6 small batteries, and 2 medium batteries. There's also some room up here above this battery for some additional industrials or electrical components. Down here is primarily routing, and what we've got up here, which is primarily power storage, with plenty of customization options. And last but not least, we are looking at this 3-triangle storage and smelting module. This uses 2 of these bamboo shelves, and this can be kind of a polarizing concept because, as you could see before we opened this garage door, these 2 shelves stick out through the garage door. Now, the reason that is polarizing is because if these bamboo shelves are broken, anything that is sitting on those shelves will be broken as well. So these 8 electric furnaces that you see in the back there and these 4 bamboo barrels will all be broken if these 2 bamboo shelves are destroyed during a raid. Now, that is obviously bad if you are living in this base. It's definitely quite punishing to lose 8 electric furnaces. However, if a raider destroys these shelves by accident and doesn't have enough boom to get into this module, then all of this will be despawned by the time they're able to get in. This may be a good way to make that raid a little bit more unpredictable and a little bit more challenging for the raider. taking a look in here, you can see we've got 8 electric furnaces, 4 on top and 4 down below. We have 2 standard low-grade based furnaces with their adapters on all of this stuff actually. We have 4 barrels, so that's 2 on each level. We've got our 4 electrical splitters, which is enough to power all of these electric furnaces. And you also have plenty of room in here for any conveyors or splitters or combiners that you might need for the industrial system. I'll leave that up to you to lay out, but of course the final component to make this module work would be this half-high bamboo shelf. You just need 2 of those seated right next to each other. I really like this module because it's pretty easy to navigate. You shouldn't have any trouble getting in here and accessing these low-grade based furnaces, but if they are blocked by these wicker barrels, then I recommend making sure you get the storage adapters attached before you place those, so that way you can just connect directly to the nodes on that storage adapter. They're both accessible, just takes a little bit of doing to find that sweet spot. Down below, you can't really access those furnaces from here, which is fine, but you can squeeze in here and you should be able to access all of these electric furnaces and the barrels without any trouble at all. Now, as a final treat, I wanted to include a little bit of an RP element, so I created this little dance cage thing we've got here with the laser lights. All that's being powered off of these splitters, as you can kind of see my crude wiring in there. And I wanted this to be another full triangular experience. So we've got a little respawn pod in here with a towel you can wake up on. And this is, if you're running like an RP server and you want to have the full roleplay experience. You spawn in here on the sleeping bag, got all your outfits and props in these little drop boxes. Back here we have a switch to turn all of this stuff on. Turn on our speaker, get our fog machine going, pop this door open, and then the show begins. But as you can see, a nice little RP dance spot. You got your lasers, you got your light, you got your smoke, your disco ball, you got some sparkling lights, and something that I thought was just kind of a cool little respawn chamber that's not exactly what you're typically using these respawn chambers for, but I kind of dig it. Anyway, that is what I've got for you today. 5 new super modules using the triangular foundations in Rust. Some of these are sunken foundation modules, others just standard triangle floor plans that you can use on an existing Rust base. As always, I greatly appreciate the support on these videos. The comments that y'all have been leaving been super supportive, so I really appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing so you're not missing out on these tips and tricks. If you're watching this video on a mobile device, which something like 30% of you are doing, after you have liked the video, down below near the comment section, there may be an option to hype the video, help other players like you discover the Spill Drop channel. Ultimately, it's a win-win. And if you want to see more content that's not necessarily Rust related, I'm going to be posting more often on the Spill Drop Adventures channel linked here. So go check out my second channel if you want to see other stuff that's not always Rust related, but will almost always feature some kind of cool trick or gameplay loop that I found interesting. Anyway, this has been your friend Spilldrop with another Super Modules showcase, and I will catch you in the next one.